We're at a historic tipping point for women. In October 2017, the hashtag MeToo spread across the globe. What began as a Hollywood sexual assault scandal sparked a public reckoning around the world.
Thousands of women are using 2 words on social media to identify themselves as survivors of sexual harassment and assault.
A watershed moment in our
New laws have been passed, and powerful men have been forced to step down.
Sorry for the damage that Oxfam has done.
Face arrest and conviction. But now, Me Too is igniting wider debates.
Day is on the horizon!
About the ability of legal systems to deliver justice.
The problem here is our systems are not strong enough to back them.
About how men should behave around women.
We don't know what the rules are, and it turns out that there's way more of them than you thought.
And about the battle for gender equality.
First you had Me Too, and now you have Now What?
Beginning in 2006, the hashtag MeToo movement was an underwhelming charity organization under the name Just Be Incorporated, which serves survivors of sexual assault. Revamped after Donald Trump's election as president in late 2016 and his infamous grab her by the pussy quote, the hashtag MeToo movement gains immense traction, culminating in a march on Washington during Trump's first full day as president on January 21, 2017. Millions of people, both men and women, protest his inauguration and election during this march and supports women's rights and equality, not only in Washington, D.C., but all over the world and the United States. To this day, it is believed to be the largest single-day demonstration in U.S. history. In February of the same year, Uber employee Susan Fowler published a 3,000-word essay about the harassment culture at Uber, in which she described sexual harassment and gender misconduct occurred frequently. This essay leads to the firing of Uber co-founder and CEO Travis Kalanick and 20 other executive employees. Other Silicon Valley companies feel the fallout of this essay as many other CEOs step down or are fired in the aftermath, including big-name startups such as Greylock and Social Finance, as well as venture funds such as 500 Startups. On April 1st of 2017, the New York Times then released its first of many sexual assault articles, this one focusing on 5 women's allegations against Fox News anchor Bill O'Reilly, their long-standing lead anchor and host of the hit show The O'Reilly Factor. O'Reilly is fired on April 17th, and he still denies all allegations, describing his firing as a political and financial hit job. Going back some time before the movement ever gained traction in 2015, Ashley Judd, a future principal piece of the Harvey Weinstein trial, published her own essay on a sexual assault she experienced by an unnamed media executive in a hotel room, now known to be Harvey Weinstein. On October 5th of 2017, the New York Times and New Yorker newspapers began investigation into the flagship account of the hashtag MeToo movement, the sexual misdeeds of Harvey Weinstein. The next day, on October 6th, 2017, Ashley Judd and a slew of other actors and workers in the film industry formally accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual harassment and assault. In the following days, over 100 women would take legal action against him. The second day after formal accusations are drawn, Weinstein is fired by his production company that bears his own name, the Weinstein Company. In a second New York article on October 13th, 13 more women accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual misconduct. It is later found out and reported in November of the same year that Weinstein would hire ex-Mossad agents to spy on his former victims in order to prevent them from exposing his true vile nature. 2 days after the second article on Harvey Weinstein, Roy Price, the head of Amazon Studios, is accused of sexual assault by producer Issa Hackett. Price would resign 5 days later on the 17th of October, 2017. On the same day, the hashtag MeToo movement is born when actress Alyssa Milano tweets the hashtag, urging people to spread awareness of the issue by sharing their own stories. The hashtag, under different pseudonyms depending on the country it is tweeted from, is tweeted over 100 million times. It is the most used hashtag in the shortest amount of time in Twitter history. The following day, gold medal gymnast Michaela Maroney tweets about her sexual misconduct at the hands of USA Gymnastics doctor Larry Nassar. In the coming week, over 150 gymnasts and athletes would rise against him, sharing their own stories. On October 19, 2017, Vox Reporting breaks that since the beginning of the hashtag MeToo movement, over 200 influential executives, actors, restaurateurs, and entrepreneurs have all been formally accused of sexual harassment, assault, or misconduct and await trial and sentencing. On October 29, 2017, 10 days later, the movement has grown far beyond any one point or person of interest. Famed and heralded actor Kevin Spacey is accused of molesting actor Anthony Rapp when he was aged 14, prompting Spacey to come out as gay. Following this accusation, over dozens of men would come out with similar claims against the actor, and as of writing this, he has 6 open cases against him. On November 9th of 2017, a Republican senatorial candidate from Alabama, Roy Moore, would have a number of women accuse him of sexual assault when they were between the ages of 9 and their early teens. On that same day, esteemed comedian Louis C.K. is accused by 5 women of sexual misconduct. On the 17th of November 2017, Senator Al Franken is accused of groping during a USO trip from 2006. The senator quickly resigns after more allegations arise. Just as notably, on the 29th of November of 2017, the Today Show host Matt Lauer is fired by NBC for sexual misconduct, although he claims he is innocent. On December 11th, Chef Mario Batali is accused of sexual misconduct by 4 women. He is fired by NBC from his hosting position and is currently under investigation by the NYPD for sexual harassment and assault. On January 7th of 2018, the hashtag MeToo movement culminates on one of the biggest stages as over 300 stars attend the Oscars in a blackout, wearing black dresses and suits and hashtag MeToo and hashtag Time's Up pins in support of the victims of sexual assault. In September of 2018, Bill Cosby, beloved actor and comedian, is sentenced to 10 years in prison for the drug and rape of multiple girls between 1970 and 1990. On October 5th of 2018, 1 year after his outing in the Times, Harvey Weinstein sits in his New York apartment on house arrest, awaiting trial for 2 counts of predatory sexual assault. He faces a potential life sentence.
Hey guys, so we filmed 3 scenarios for you all. One in public, one in a workplace, and one in a social setting. Nate will be analyzing harassment in public. Carolyn will be analyzing harassment in a workplace, and Aspen will be analyzing harassment in a social setting. After each video, they'll be focusing on what went wrong in the situation and ways how you can stand up for someone else and yourself. Before we start though, I wanted to take a few steps that you can take how to combat these problems. Be aware of your actions. Ask yourself if this is how you'd want to be treated. Look out for others and those around you, and speak up for what is right in a social, work, family situations. I hope you enjoy these 3 videos.
Oh, so you put in reports here?
Yeah, Barry, I don't know. I think we're at an anchor.
Really?
I think we're at an anchor or something.
Yeah, no, that's here. No, let me. I think it's someone. It's. I don't know.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I don't. It's weird.
The birth of the MeToo movement has forced concerns with harassment in the workplace to enter the public at a global level. An analysis of business circles shows that existing laws are ineffective and that prevention of sexual harassment is more a matter of culture than a matter of court. In the opinion of the EU Agency for Fundamental Rights, 28 million women in the EU have experienced sexual harassment since the age of 15. In the US, the figure is 33.6 million. As we saw in the clip, Nate's advances on Kiva are not only inappropriate for the workplace, but are visibly making Kiva feel uncomfortable. The United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commission defines workplace sexual harassment as unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other verbal or physical contact of sexual nature. When this conduct explicitly or implicitly affects an individual's employment, unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance, or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Rather than ignoring the behavior, Kiva should have immediately communicated to the harasser that such behavior is unwelcome. Employees who experience sexual harassment in the workplace need to understand that they have an obligation to report sexual harassment concerns to their supervisor, manager, or the Human Resources Office. Employers can also take action by discouraging such comments and actions by promoting a workplace that's supportive of a diverse workforce.
How you ladies feeling? I got a Honda. We can look for my place.
I think we should leave us alone.
No? Well, let's check this out.
I think you should go.
Hey, is everything all right here?
Yeah, bro. Stick the game at these Chicas.
Is he bothering you?
Yeah, he's making us feel
I
think you should.
I think you gotta go.
Okay.
Bye.
This specific video is unique because not only do you see sexual harassment, but we also see a possible way to prevent anyone from getting hurt. Sexual harassment is the behavioral construct that consists of gender harassment, unwanted sexual attention, and sexual coercion. In this clip, we saw sexual harassment being shown as an unwanted sexual attention by using verbal language and body language. As you can see, Nate intervenes the scenario as he sees it unfold. RAIN is a sexual violence prevention site that says a bystander is a person who is present when an event takes place but isn't directly involved. Bystanders might be present when sexual assault or abuse occurs, or they could be a witness to the circumstances that lead up to these crimes. As bystanders, we have the power to prevent sexual harassment. It's not always easy to step in, even if you know it's the right thing to do. Some common reasons bystanders remain on the sidelines include, I don't know what to do or what to say, I don't want to cause a scene. It's okay to have these thoughts, but it's important to realize that your actions can have a big impact. In many situations, bystanders have the opportunity to prevent crimes like sexual assault from happening in the first place.
Hey.
Oh, hi.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. Just enjoying my walk. Excuse me. Wildly inappropriate.
Some of the most common forms of sexual harassment takes place in a public setting, with being followed, catcalled, and touched inappropriately cited as some of the most common. According to StopStreetHarassment.org, who surveyed over 1,100 women and men, 99% of the respondents stated that they had experienced some form of street harassment. Of the 900 female respondents, 95% stated that they had been honked at least once, 87% stated that they were the target of a sexist comment, 82% stated they had been the target of a vulgar gesture at least once, 57% stated that they had been inappropriately touched by a stranger in public, and 37% of the female respondents have had a stranger masturbate at or in front of them at least once in public. Like we saw in the video, Arianna, the stranger, has clearly inappropriately violated Kiva's personal space, showing signs of following, catcalling, and inappropriate touching. As stated before, public harassment is an incredibly prevalent issue. If you ever are experiencing this, and if you feel safe enough, respond assertively, calmly, and without insults, as insults might escalate the situation. Let the attackers know that their actions are unwelcome, unacceptable, and wrong. In addition, if you witness any form of public harassment, step in. Intervene in the situation and let the attackers know that they're unwelcome and their actions are not appropriate.
So, how is Chapman University trying to combat this issue to prevent sexual assault in a college environment? Chapman has an organization known as CARES, which stands for Creating a Rape-Free Environment for Students. It provides all members of the Chapman community with important information about support. CARES is a group of students who are committed to raising awareness regarding rape and sexual assault. The mission includes disseminating prevention information and stimulating discussion with the aim of impacting the rape mentality that pervades our culture. Some of the goals include raising awareness regarding the prevalence of rape and sexual assault on university campuses by providing information, to educate the Chapman community regarding ways to reduce the risk of becoming a victim of sexual assault, and stimulate dialogue regarding rape and sexual assault, as well as encouraging the acquisition and use of assertiveness, communication, and healthy dating and interpersonal skills. Sexual misconduct and sex-based gender discrimination can take many forms, including sexual harassment, rape, sexual assault, sexual battery, domestic or dating violence, interpersonal violence, stalking, or other forms of sex-based or gender harassment. College students who experience sexual violence must deal with making important decisions, such as whether to seek medical treatment, make a police report, notify campus officials, contact parents or family, or obtain help from campus resources. Most individuals who experience sexual violence or assault also have concerns about their personal privacy and safety. If you would want support and information regarding what options you have in a privileged and confidential setting, you can contact Chapman's Rape and Sexual Assault Crisis Counselor, Dr. Danny Smith. Dr. Danny Smith is Chapman University's CARES Coordinator and Rape Crisis Counselor on campus. If you want to know what options you have regarding on-campus and off-campus reporting or need support, Dr. Danny Smith is a privileged and confidential advocate for you. Her office is located in AF 303B. She can also be reached at 714-744-7080 or dasmith@chapman.edu. One important fact that you should know is that while studies vary, It suggests that American women are physically abused by a boyfriend or spouse every 9 to 15 seconds. Date and acquaintance rape are generally not reported for a number of reasons. Some of these include the fear that they won't be believed, fear that they will be blamed, fear that they will be hurt by the assailant, and think that they are at fault. It is important to realize that it is never the victim or survivor's fault. It may have been the poor judgment for getting drunk or for the other's behavior, but the victim and survivor are never at fault for rape or sexual assault. People who rape generally don't stop with one instance. One way to try and stop them from continuing to hurt others is to report, regardless of when the rape occurred. If enough people report, people who rape are more likely to be stopped. Another important fact to note is that most rapists have 8 to 12 victims before one of them will file a police report. You probably aren't the first or only victim, so it's important to make a report or seek medical attention. No one should feel embarrassed or ashamed if they are a victim of abuse. The best way to prepare yourself for any situation that may arise is to know your options and who to contact in case of an emergency. Peer and the CARES coordinator are here to support, educate, and prevent violence to help and provide a safe college experience for all students. Thank you.
Hey guys, so I'm going to be just stating some facts about the MeToo movement and just rape/sexual assault and sexual harassment culture, both in America and globally. So to start, 1 out of every 6 American women has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. 14.8% of these were completed and 2.8 were just attempted. And of this 1 out of 6 percentage, 80 to 95% of those victims know their assailant. And so the perpetrators in the U.S., half of which are older than 30 or older. Another quarter are 21 to 29, 9% are 18 to 20, and 15% are 17 or younger. And the race demographic of these assailants, 57% are white, so the vast majority, 27% are black, 8% unknown ethnicity, 6% other, and 1% is a mixed group. So 8 out of 10 rapes are committed by someone known to the victim, 19.5% are committed by a stranger, 39% are committed by an acquaintance, 33% are committed by a current or former spouse, boyfriend, or girlfriend, 6% are committed by more than one person or the victim cannot remember, and 2.5% are committed by a non-spouse relative. So, male college students at risk. Males ages 18 to 24 who are college students are approximately 5 times more likely than non-students of the same age to be a victim of rape or sexual assault. So that you are 5 times more likely as a male in college to be a victim of sexual assault or harassment. So globally, 35% of women have experienced physical or sexual violence towards them. The largest, the percentages of women who have experienced some form of sexual assault in these Asian countries. In Bangladesh, it was 57% of all women, Cambodia 77%, India 79%, and Vietnam 87% of women experience some form of sexual harassment. In Egypt, 99% of women surveyed across 7 regions have experienced sexual harassment, which pretty much every woman in Egypt has experienced some form of harassment or assault, which is bewildering. In Zimbabwe, 1 in 5 women reported that the first time they had sex was forced or against their will, so rape. In Zimbabwe and Rwanda, 1 in 3 women experienced physical or sexual violence by an intimate partner during their lifetime. In Nigeria, 43% of girls are married off before their 18th birthday. In South Africa, almost 3 out of 4 women experienced some form of abuse in the past year.
So in this section, we're going to be talking about how people are trying to change the culture of harassment and the 2 different types of workplace harassment. The first one being quid pro quo. That's I'll do something for you if you do something for me, / I'll take away something from you if you don't do something for me. This one is incredibly manipulative and often leaves people feeling trapped, like they don't have another option besides acquiescing to whatever the request from a superior is. The second would be a hostile work environment. Now, the legal parameters of what qualifies as a hostile work environment are often more severe than what would qualify as a typical company policy. Because in the eyes of the law, for it to be a hostile work environment, it has to be unwelcomed, has to be due to a characteristic based on race, sex, gender, or age, and it has to be severe and pervasive. The thing about this is most companies are obviously not just defining a hostile work environment by the legal parameters, because if something is severe and pervasive, then it's already been happening for a while, and companies, especially given the MeToo movement, are trying to cut short any kind of harassment that is taking place in the workplace before it gets to a point where it could ever be considered severe and pervasive. The other thing that companies do that is not required by the law is supervisor-subordinate relationships are often either frowned upon or totally banned from the workplace, because it creates a power dynamic and either ends in marriage, the unlikely case, or in the subordinate being fired. So this would also fall into these what corporations would be trying to eliminate from their companies to prevent any kind of hostile work environment. So in a TED Talk by Greenwich Carlson, she talks about 3 ways that they're working on changing this culture of workplace harassment. The first being enable bystanders and turn them into allies. So anyone that's witnessing harassment or anyone that allows it to happen, those are your first line of defense, and those are the people that you want to communicate that this is a problem to, and those are the people that you want on your side. The second suggestion she makes is to change the law of forced arbitration in employment contracts, because it takes away your 7th Amendment right to an open jury process, because with this there is no appeals, and worst of all, it's kept a secret. So because of this law of forced arbitration within a corporation, there could be a sexual harassment scandal that takes place in a workplace that never gets out, and that employee could simply be let go, and no one in that work environment would ever know that it happened, who was the perpetrator, who was the victim. None of that would ever get out under forced arbitration. The third one that Carlson talks about is to speak up and be heard, because the voices of survivors matter, and those voices just allow people to hear the story from other perspectives and to feel comfortable in voicing their own stories.